Hello everyone, welcome back to Divine Angelic Chosen channel. This is Gracie, Spiritual Earth Angel 623, and also Sarai Natural Beauty, skincare products and aromatherapy candles. So today I want to come to you because there was a dream that God was showing me last night. And you know that yesterday was Valentine's Day, right? So you know that was a big American thing or holiday or whatever, that people would go, and spend a lot of money, go take people out to dinner and stuff like that, all for a one day thing, you know, when you should be showing your love and gratitude for people every day, not just one special day, which is February the 14th. It should be bigger than that when it comes to different holidays that you celebrate in your life. So with the dream was that it was this couple live in this community. It's two sets of couples, and they're doing like sex magic is what these two couples are doing. And one was, I'm not gonna go into details. You know what you do when it comes to your sexual relationship preference or bonding or whatever. So, but just let you know, it was like a sex type ritual was going on that I saw in the dream that God had gave me. And so one couple was doing, their thing, as couples, I guess, would do or whatever. Then it was another set of couple. This man was, I guess this man go both ways. This man, he likes men and likes women, so he goes both ways. Or take it how it resonate. It could be a woman that goes both ways also. But in the dream, it was four sets of people, two sets of couple. And the other two were just watching, and I guess getting off on watching the other couple do their thing, which is nasty to me. Very nasty to me. To be doing stuff like that. But this is what in the dream that God was showing me, that this couple was doing like a sex ritual, on yesterday. And it was like doing a moon phase also. So it lets me know they was doing like a sex ritual again. Which is, like I said, is really nasty. And so it brought back to a video where actually, no, it was a movie that I was watching. And it was called Soulmates. The movie was called Soulmates. And so I was like, okay, let's see what this all about. So as I was watching it, it was talking about, it was this woman, and she had like a living boyfriend, and she wasn't too happy with the boyfriend or whatever. Or, this is the movie now. I'm getting to the movie. I wasn't too happy with the boyfriend, but we're just settling for less, pretty much. And so I guess they had like an agreement. Her and him had like an agreement that if they find their soulmate, that they will go ahead and separate or whatever, go about their business. But like I said, this was a movie because they weren't married. These people wasn't married. They were just single people living together, whatever. And in the movie, so I guess that she was on a dating site, and also too, the man was on a dating site also. And by him being on a dating site, and then she was more adamant about finding her soulmate, getting a match and finding her soulmate more than versus what the man was. And how the movie went is that when she finally got, I guess, her match, she started, to change towards the man that, her boyfriend, living boyfriend. She started changing towards him because she thought that the universe had sent her soulmate. And during the time that, so she was getting all dolled up, getting all dressed up and everything like that. And he was like, well, where are you going? And so she was like, well, she said, well, I just got a message from the universe that, I have a, in which it was like on the dating site that both of them was on, and said that, that she had got a match. So they got into some type of disagreement on the movie, and it's actually a movie called Soulmate. So they got into a disagreement, and next thing you know, she she told him, she said, well, I'm not gonna, she told him that she wasn't gonna argue with them. She said they knew the agreement and what they agreed upon and all that stuff, and so she's going to pursue on. But I think the man, the living boyfriend, had some type of feelings for her, so that's why I guess he was trying to change their agreement that they had agreed upon, and he never did it. He never worked. In the movie, she was the one that always going to work, working at different various jobs and different things like that, while he stayed at home. And he stayed at home and played video games, on there. And then he was, and it was like a technology too. She worked for like this technology company. This lady does. And I guess she developed this dating site type thing about, meeting your soulmate or whatever, because in the movie she had a lot of the up-to-date technology gadgets in her home. Like those technology gadgets that we have that's coming in the future, where I have some now, where you have the refrigerator that you can see through and see what's inside, where it was that type gadget. And then she had like a big clear like TV screen that was clear. It didn't have no backing on it. It was just like a glass, but you can actually see, the movies, pictures, whatever you're seeing on TV, and the guy was playing video games from it. And then she had a phone also that was clear, with just like a glass too. It didn't have no phone backing, like the phones we have now. It was very clear phone. So it was like a high-tech technology company that this person worked for, the woman that worked for in the movie. And so she was bringing home the bread or whatever, and he was just sitting there, just living off of her, mooching off of her and different things like that. And so then she ended up meeting her soulmate. So once she met her soulmate, she ended up meeting him at a little local restaurant or whatever. But remind you, in her past, let's go back to her past. So in her past, this woman had experienced a lot of relationship trauma and tragedies in her past. So she was really scared to love again. She was scared to commit to anybody or to trust anybody. So that's how she ended up meeting this sorry man as a boyfriend of hers, in the movie, where he just mooched off of her. He will call her when the toilet paper is low, or when they're going to eat food. He wait until she get home, either to cook food or they order food and stuff like that. So one of her friends was telling her, like, well, why would she sit there and put up with somebody like that, that always taken from her and not given. And so she was, she was trying to justify her answers in the movie about how, that he was a good person or whatever, and that he have his ways and his flaws and stuff like that he was a good man or whatever. But but she was saying that she was not compatible with him, because I guess it's, sexual wise, that bonding that you will have, with a person that you care about. So in that, so then after that, so that's what she was telling her friend in the movie. And then after that, she was like, okay, so the friend was like, well, maybe you need to tell him to go. And so she was like, well, when the time was right or whatever. So that was the beginning part where her and her friend was talking about it before she met this man. So when she met this man was well put together. I mean, he dressed like he was a businessman, successful. He got his life together. He got it going on, you know, just a perfect man. So she was kind of scared when she met him. And so they was, you know, he was asking her in a movie about talking about, you know, give some, give some insight about her. You know, he wanted to know some things about her before he tell about him. So next thing you know, long story short, she began to tell about, you know, her tragic relationship with a man, you know, with different men in her life and stuff like that. And some was abusive and some was, you know, a narcissist, you know, what we would call. And then some would, you know, just being verbally and mentally abusive. So she told him about that. And so then that's when so she asked him about him, and he only gave her like vague things about him. He didn't really come out and tell the truth about, you know, his personality, his characters or whatever, or who he dated in the past and all that stuff. And the man that she met was like a doctor. So I think he was more like a psychiatrist, you know, doctor. He was sort of like that. Or a psychology doctor. He was between those two. You know, it didn't really give into detail too in the movie about what this man's job was, you know, as a doctor. So once she said she was fear of getting into a relationship and love and stuff like that. So they finished, you know, eating or whatever, their little cake or coffee, whatever. So then he took her outside into like this alley. So she was getting scared. So she was like, what are you doing? She started getting offensive. You know, she started getting guarded because she didn't know. She was fear of the unknown. And so she didn't know how, you know, so when this man was taking her around the corner from the store into like a dark alley. And she didn't, you know, she really didn't know what was going on. So she started putting up her guards and started being fear. You know, she started getting aggressive. You know, she started, you know, anxiety and paranoia and all that, you know, mental illness stuff, that symptoms start coming on her. So the man was like, so then the doctor was like, okay, well, calm down. He was like, calm your mind. He said, I need you to close your eyes, calm your mind, and take deep breath. So when she closed her mind, at first she was leery about doing it because it was dark and she was in an alley. So she was still had her guards and stuff up about this new man that she met on the internet. So as she was doing that, next thing you know, she ended up, you know, doing what he said, you know. So she closed her eyes, she took deep breath, and then she calmed herself and count to 5 or whatever. And then she let go. So then the question that he asked her was, now, he said, how do you feel? He said, now, do whatever, what it told you, you know, I guess doing that breathing exercise or whatever. So he wanted her to tell him, how she feel and what was her mind, body, and soul was telling her after she did that exercise. So next thing you know, she got the boldness and the courage and different things like that up. So she was like, well, so she had the bold and the courage to kiss the man. So and that took them by surprise. So then after that, you know, she was changed. The woman was changed. You know, she was so happy. You know, she went to work happy. She went to work, you know, with the glow and all that stuff, right? you know, when you feel like you're in love. So she told the man too that she loved him. And so that's, you know, so she had this like glow on her life or whatever. So then after that, she going to so next thing you know, in the movie, she end up like telling the man that she wanted to get the boyfriend out the house. You know, she wanted to get him out the house because he's not useful, and that she had told him to move out, and he refused. The boyfriend refused to move out. So he was like, okay, well, take me to your house. And she was, so then of course again she got scared again, and she was like, well, I don't know about that. I don't know about, you know, she didn't want to take him to the house, and then she didn't want to confront the boyfriend either. So next thing you know, he convinced her. She went to the house, and then next thing you know, she the boyfriend was sitting there, was like, oh, so you decide to bring him home. So she ended up bringing him home, and so it took her by surprise. And so the man was like, well, I have nothing to do between you and him relationship or whatever. So next thing you know, she ended up closing her eyes again and practiced the technique, you know, the breathing technique and all this stuff that he told her to do. You know, I guess she was having some type of, I guess she was having a way of not trying to express her true feelings about somebody, and that she had a hard time of communicating with people and expressing her true feelings of how she feel, you know, and how she want the person to leave, right? So doing that, so then after that, she end up so in the movie, she ended up telling the guy, you know, she was like, I need you to get out my house. And so the guy was like, what? I'm not going nowhere. And so then she walked up to him and got like authority and boldness. She was like, I said for you to get out of my house, and I need you to pack your stuff and leave now. So he was shocked. So the man ended up getting his stuff. He's like, fine, got his stuff, because I guess he never saw another side of her where she, you know, never saw another side of her where, you know, that she was standing up for herself, you know, really stand up for herself and stand on her word. You know, whatever she was saying to him at first, he didn't believe it. But when she got that boldness and that courage, and she stood up for herself and meant what she said, then that's when the man got scared then. So he ended up packing stuff up and leave. You know, and so she looked out and she was like so amazed, like, wow. She said, this is all I had to do, you know, to get him to leave or whatever. So then her and the man, you know, end up, you know, having sex or whatever that night and different things like that. So weeks went by. You know, it was a couple of days actually went by. And she kept texting this man because I guess she don't have this feelings for this man, because she think that the universe done brought this man to her as her soulmate. So she like, you know, so she's sitting there, you know, texting this man, and this man is not texting her back. So she keep looking at her phone. Every time he looked, she keep looking at her phone, kept looking at her phone. And he never did text her back. So it was like a couple of days or maybe a week went by. This man ended up texting her. And he was saying some type of excuse to her, you know, why he hasn't called her, why he hasn't talked to her and all this stuff, right? And so once again, because her feelings are all involved, because she thinks that this man is her soulmate, because they have something in common and that they matches, you know, I guess every quality or whatever that she was looking at. So I think that's what it was. So I think that that's why she was sitting there, you know, sitting there with that part, because she thought the man was her soulmate, and because they had some type of quality, you know, on the test that they took or whatever. So, and next thing you know, long story short, I'm getting to the end of the movie pretty much, though, sum it up. But as to get to the end of the movie, where The man ended up calling her and told her, he was like, it was like in the middle of the night. And he was like, he said, I need you to come to my house. So she ended up going to his house. He called a cab for her. She got in the cab, and the cab took her to the man's house. So he said, because and on the phone before he got off, he said, because I want to show you the real me. So next thing you know, so she going there and she being all happy and everything, going to this man's house. Next thing you know, she gets there. This man has another woman, a younger woman or whatever, that he was entertaining. And next thing you know, he was entertaining her. And he knew that she was already outside. So she walked around, when she walked around, she saw it from a distance, because, he didn't have curtains at his window. She saw it at a distance that he was with somebody. So all of a sudden, her emotions took over her. She was crying. She was feeling heartbroken. She was feeling betrayal, deceit by this man, when she thought that the universe has given this man to her, 2121. In 2024, that this, has given her. And so, so she was crying and she was about to leave. So she was about to leave and be like, heartbroken and everything like that, until that's when that man had grabbed this young female. Once he grabbed this young female, he ended up grabbing this female and by her throat. And it did, that loving, that he was entertaining her, stroking her hair, the young female's hair and all this stuff, turned into violent, to the point that this man was trying to kill this woman. So he had threw this woman across the table, and blood was coming from this woman's head and stuff like that. So it got her attention. So she wanted to see what was going to happen, even though she was like in fear. But she still wanted to see what he was going to do to this woman. And so when she did that, next thing you know, the woman was like, the girl was like trying to, for her life. She was trying to survive and try to fight back and stuff. But he had already overpowered her, by giving her alcohol and stuff like that, wine or whatever they was drinking. So he had overpowered her. So she was able to fight back. So he ended up choking this woman and killing her. So as she, so when the woman saw that, she got terrified. She couldn't believe what she had saw. That this man that she thought was her soulmate was actually killing people, killing women that he dated, but just killing them. And so when that happened, she started running. So when he saw her, he looked up and saw her, and then he started running, behind her, be like, hey, wait, where you going? Where you going? And he was like, I'm just showing you who I really is, who the true person he was, right? And so she was like, I don't want to be bothered with you, stay away from me and all this stuff. So she was running and stuff like that. So next thing you know, she finally made it home. And so when she made it home, she shut the door. She had this knife. Then she ended up having this knife in her hand, and because I think she knew that the man was coming to her house, because he already knew where she lived at. So she had a knife in her hand, and next thing you know, he came in. It's some more to the story, what I'm trying to get at. So just listen. So as she came in, she ended up, so he was like, let me in. And she was like, no, go away. I'm going to call the police. And she had called the police. So she didn't lie about calling the police, because she did call the police and want to report this murder or whatever with this man. And so when she finally let him in, and she still had the knife in her hand. And so he was like, okay. He said, so what are you doing? And so she was like, well, so he was like, well, did you call the police? She was like, yes, I called the police and reported an incident. And he was like, okay, so how do you feel now? And that's the same thing he would respond back to. Well, how do you feel? So she was like, took her by surprise. And she was like, get away from me. Get out of my house. I don't want to be bothered with you. You just killed somebody. I just witnessed you kill somebody, right? So he was like, he said, but I'm just showing you that who I am. So he was actually showing her his true side, how he really is. But she failed to realize that because she looked at how the man dressed, how well he talked, and then too, she was so desperate of trying to find her soulmate, her twin flame or whatever, divine counterpart, that she didn't pay attention to the warning signs, and then she didn't ask enough questions either to the man. She didn't ask enough questions to get to know this man, in the movie. So she was based on because she got a match, and the match saying they were soulmates and all this stuff. It's just like that movie remind me of, that it's a, I think it's a dating site that used to be on TV. It was they used to have a commercial on TV about, taking a test or whatever, and meeting your soulmate and all that stuff. Where I think that was same sort of like that test that they were taking in the movie, or either she developed that test, because like I said, she had a company. This woman had like a company, like a technology company, that she do a lot of technology stuff and different things. That's what her business was. And so after that, they end up having sex again. And so I'm like, in the movie, watching the movie, I'm like, well, what the hell? She trying to have sex with a man after notion this man don't kill a woman and stuff like that, So next thing you know, they left or whatever. So then when she got to work, she was kind of acting weird, with her girlfriend and stuff like that. And so one of her girlfriend put her aside, said, well, if this man has done something to you or done something bad, you need to tell somebody, report and tell somebody. So she was like, I'm not going to worry about it. So then after she left work, she ended up going and going to the police station to report this man killing this woman that she witnessed. So when she was talking about it, next thing you know, in her memory, it brought back, how she met this man, how he helped her get the ex-boyfriend out the house, how he helped her get over her feelings and fears of relationships, her past trauma and all this stuff. So she felt like that he was like a saint to her, that he helped her get over all this, and help her control her anxiety, help her control her paranoia, whatever, mental illness. Let's put it that way, symptoms and stuff, different things like that. And after that, it was like, it went down here from there. Next thing you know, she ended up walking one night from work or whatever, and this guy was on the streets. And the guy was like trying to hit on her. She was like, leave me alone. She always carried a taser with her. In her pocketbook, she carried a taser. So the guy wouldn't leave her alone. So the guy started coming after her, wanted to try to rape her and all this stuff and try to be abusive, just like a narcissist, trying to be abusive to her. All of a sudden, she end up tasing the guy, to get the guy off of her. So she ended up pulling her tase out of her pocketbook and tased the guy. So the guy's laying on the ground, tased, and so that's when she walked away, she walked away then feeling this boldness and walked away like, saying that's good enough for him or whatever. But then when she remembered how that guy choked this woman and how he killed this woman cold-blooded in his home. So then that's when she took her taser back out of her pocketbook, went back and started tasing this guy in different parts of his body. And then she ended up tasing him in his mouth. And she kept on putting the pressure on that taser until the guy ended up dying, from all of the electricity and stuff like that from the taser. And she felt good, and you could see on her face that she had felt good of killing this man. That she was happy. It was like it brought like a good feeling to her of killing people. getting into being like a serial killer. Both of them was like a serial killer then. And I guess this man ended up getting her in touch with her dark side. Instead of being in her spiritual side, she began to get into her dark side, the dark side of her, and the man had a dark side also. And when that happened, next thing you know, they end up start killing, they just start killing with each other. So each other, they would go and get people and they would just start killing. They would just start killing, meeting people, killing them. So then next thing you know, she went home. And so the boyfriend was still there, the deadbeat boyfriend. She ended up bringing him back into her life. And yeah, in between, she ended up bringing him back into her life. So he ended up moving back in. After she told him to get out, he ended up moving back into the house again, being the same old way that he always been to her, a smoocher. Always looking out for himself. That's how the guy in the movie was. So he never did get a job and nothing like that. He always was he went back to his normal bad habits. Pretty much you can say that in the movie. And so the next thing I know, so as they was sitting there talking, she don't cook food and everything. He been at home all day, ain't cook no food, still watching video games and all that stuff. And so they sitting at the table, he's talking to her, and she thinking about killing him. She think about taking a knife and just go up his throat and kill him. Or she thinking about taking a fork and go up his, up the roof of his mouth, like the chin, and stick it up to the roof of his mouth and try to kill him that way. I mean, it was like different ways that she was thinking of how to kill this man now that she done had a taste of killing. And now she's operating her dark side now. And so she didn't realize that when she tased that guy, that the new man that's supposed to be her, like her soulmate, that she watched kill the girlfriend, kill this woman in his house, like this doctor or whatever. He was there watching her. But she didn't even notice that, that there was somebody standing at the end of the alley watching the whole thing. So he ended up telling her about it. He was like, he said, I saw you that night when you killed that guy with the taser in the alley. So then that's when she was speechless. She didn't know what to say. So he actually said, well, how did you feel when you was tasing him and killing him and he was dying? And she actually said that so then she, at first, she wanted to say, tell him, get out of her, she started want to walk away. She didn't want to hear it, because she didn't want to get in trouble for killing a man, 33. So she didn't want to get in trouble for killing a man. So next thing you know, she ended up, making a long story short, because it's getting too long now. But anyway, there was texting back and forth and stuff like that. So all of a sudden, sorry about that, got interrupted. So anyway, so after that, that was the end of it. That was the end of the more of the story, whatever. And yeah, so that was the end of it. The story that they was always on she got in touch with her dark side, so they were doing a lot of killing. So the man ended up stealing the boyfriend, and brought him to his house, put him in his shower. He had him chained up and bound and everything, where he had already started, doing, evilness to this man, like cutting, because he had blood and all this stuff on him. So he had already started trying to kill this man. So, and he had a knife. And so when she came home, and she was like looking for him, and he wasn't there, but his phone was there. So when she picked up his phone, and the phone rung, in the house, she knew something was wrong. So that's when she heard the recording. The man was like, I'm sorry that I wasn't there, at the house because I'm too busy at somebody else's house or something like that. So it was like a clue that the man left. So when he left the clue, she knew it was the doctor or the psychiatrist or the psychology, whatever doctor that was had him, because it was like a clue that was left. So she went to the man's house. And when she went to the man's house that she met online through a dating site, so next thing you know, he had him in a, in the tub, chained up. Like I say, was chained up, bound, hands, feet, everything. And he was like, the man was scared. The boyfriend was scared and crying and all this stuff out to her to help him and all this stuff. So that's when when she came and she saw that she was getting scared, and feeling fear about the boyfriend, all that stuff. So the man handed her a knife. The new boyfriend doctor handed a knife to her and said, okay, here. He said, now I want you. I started the job. He said, so now I need you to finish it and get in touch with your dark side. And so she looked at the knife and she looked at him, and the boyfriend kept on pleading like, don't do it. Don't listen to him or whatever. And he, that man had so much power over her mind that, that she did whatever this man said, for her to do. And that's what happened. So she ended up, killing the boyfriend, stabbing him to death and stuff like that. And as she was doing it, you can tell that all the memories of all her bad, what the men has done to her in the past, that she couldn't defend herself, all that anger and resentment, hostile, all her emotions, what she had harbored inside came out onto her stabbing the boyfriend. Sorry about that. I guess nobody wants me to get this out, but I'm going to get it out anyway because it needs to be exposed. So anyway, the more of the story. So when you meet people, the more of the stories is when you meet people online or dating sites or out or whatever, you don't know what type of background that this person has if you don't ask questions. And that's how a lot of people get involved with, as far as, where they get involved with someone that is not good for them. Because they're looking for companionship. They're looking for, because they don't want to be alone. They desperate. They're looking at where they, how can I put it? That they need for status. So you get hooked up with the wrong person, and you don't know until you start to get to know the person. And when that happened, then you see the true side of the person, because when you first start dating, and each other's not gonna know each other, you're gonna get to know one another, whatever, and then it leads into like a marriage and different things like that. And so when that happened, all of a sudden, you think that somebody's your soulmate. Now take it how it resonate. It can, it can be, this can resonate now with male or female. Now talking about it, when someone get in touch with your dark side, and that you have a good side and you have a bad side, right? And if you get in tune, if somebody's persuading you to, to pursue in your dark side, where you have been delivered, oh, God had brought you out of that, and then that person decided to take you back into the past, into your dark side, and telling you to embrace it, then that's not the person that you need to be with. Because you have good and bad soulmates out here, twin flames. And not all soulmates and twin flames you need to be with. Some is just a lesson learned, and then you move forward until you meet your true soulmate, your true divine counterpart, and your true what God has sent into your life. And so doing that, what I got from the more of the story and the revelation of this movie, with this woman, this man killing people and stuff like that, thought they were soulmates, which they were soulmates because they both was matched, had a match or whatever. But she had found the dark side, the dark soulmate that had like a dark side to him, and then it ended up bringing out that dark side in her. And so with that, be mindful of who you date, who you want to marry, who you want to be in your life, and be around your family, your friends, your kids, or whatever. Because, yes, you can meet your twin flame, you can meet your soulmate, but if either one of those divine counterparts or whatever get you in touch with your dark side, then that's not good. That's when you need to let that soulmate, that twin flame go. Because now they are telling you, getting you in touch with your dark side, and so you get in touch with your spiritual side, the good side of you. And when somebody have that much power over your life to tell you to do things to people, that you normally don't do, then that's the person you need to stay away from and run away from quickly. And make sure that that person doesn't enter into your life. Because you don't want somebody in your life that is going to keep you in the dark side of your personality, what they call the dark night of the soul side. You don't want them to be kept you there. You want to be into the light, and striving, getting your blessings, walking in your destiny, walking into your purpose. You don't want someone to have control over your mind, body, and soul to tell you to do things because they're doing it. So if a man or woman is telling you to do something against somebody else, then you need to fight that. You need to fight that dark side of you. And don't allow that person to control your mind, body, and soul to do evilness towards another person. And which would cause consequences on you later. It would affect your life later on. Because now you operated in the dark soul, your dark time, your dark era, and you don't put aside God, so that way you can operate in that, and you allowing this person to twist your mind all around. I don't know who it's for, but it goes along with the dream. I don't know who this is for, but you can't allow your dark side to overcome your good. Sometimes you need to stand up and be brave and be bold and have boundaries when it comes to certain people that you encounter in your life. And that's what that doctor was trying to do with her, to have her to stand up, for herself, when people do her wrong or what people say or whatever, and then set those boundaries. So that was the same thing, 44 with the, with that he was trying to show her, and how to do that. But as he was showing her, he also had a dark side. that he was very in touch and tuned into, and she wasn't. So he discovered that inside of her by looking into her eyes or whatever she talked about, because sometimes psychology people, when you are a psychology doctor or study psychology. I know we study psychology, in nursing school, went to the psych classes and stuff like that and studied that too, that part of my medical license and different things like that. So, so you can pick up on the signs of when somebody has mental illness and when somebody is having trouble communicating, having trouble, of staying in the light and in boundaries. And so with that, after that, that's when that's when I'm almost done with the story. Sorry about that. It got interrupted again. Like I said, distractions don't want me to talk about this. And when you have that, you bring in, when you start getting in touch with your dark side, after you know that you've been brought out and you know that you were a good person, a good standing, you had your standards, you had your morals, you had your values and different things like that. And then all of a sudden, now, you're in touch with your dark side because you done met a dark twin or a dark soulmate, or a dark divine counterpart is what that's what it is. Thank you, God. So that's what she had met. She had met a dark one, one of the ones that was still, in the matrix, still has not waken up to his spirituality, his spiritual journey, his purpose, his mission, or whatever. And she hasn't either, so she was doing a lot of struggling, with a lot of things. She was doing a lot of struggling and different things like that, with that, with her, going through her dark night of her soul, that she was going through. And when that happened, so when she was going through the dark night of her soul or whatever, and that happened, I had to close the door. My husband is on the phone, so sorry about that. So I had to close the door. And when that happened, it was like, oh my God, that is like kind of crazy. And I was looking at this movie and I was like, oh my God, I was just getting revelation after revelation about this movie, but that God was like showing me. And I was like, oh wow, how the title of it was Soulmates, and how this woman became like a normal working person, had her career, her job and everything. And then next thing you know, she done turned into the serial killer. Because she don't sit there and met, this man online that's supposed to be her soulmate. It's supposed to be a match. And so, and at the end, she asked this man, she said, well, what made you take the test? And so he said that he took the test because he wanted to find out if there's another person that thinks like him and does the same thing that he does, kill people. Go out there and pick people. So it was like to me, it was like a vampire, where a vampire will go out there and, and pick their prey and then suck the blood, the life and everything out the person. Well, that's pretty much that's what that man was doing. He was going out there and picking all types of women, and bringing them to his house, wine and dine them, say all the things that they want to hear. And then next thing you know, he ended up killing them and destroying them at the end. So that's what happened. And so then he met his match because she was the same way. Only thing is that she never got in touch with her dark side. She was still going through her trauma. She was still going through all the tragedies, everything that happened in her life when it came to relationship, down to childhood on up. So she was going through her unhealing stage, going through her emotions and different things like that. When she met the dark night of the soul, of her soulmate, her twin flame, that's when he started putting her on a different perspective, because he was dark and twisted. So he wanted her to be, see if she was dark and twisted also, to see if the relationship will work. And see, and that's how some people are. That's how you attract people. It's like if you are unhealed in different parts of your life, you're going to attract people that same way. You're going to attract unhealed people. You're going to attract dark people. You're going to attract people that's into killing. You're going to attract people that's into spell work. You're going to attract people that's into, harming and hurting an innocent person, a human being, bullying, stalking, following people, just doing just BS, and to people, and don't care, have evil intentions towards people. So, and that's what it was, is that she met a dark soul of night of her twin flame, is what she met that night. That she got in touch, that made her get in touch with her dark soul. And so that's why she didn't mind killing that man, and didn't mind killing the boyfriend, and then it ended up killing other people too. And throughout the movie, they end up being together and stuff, and just out there killing people, for fun, and doing just craziness, to innocent people, like it was a sport or a game, to them. And so, and that's how spirits and stuff like that will get into your mind, your body, and your soul. When be mindful too of different movies that you watch, because normally when I see a lot of killing and different things like that in the movie, all dark and twisted, I really don't look at it. But God had me to look at it yesterday, and to get the revelation of it. And I was like, the whole time I was like, oh my God, I don't want to watch this and stuff like that. But I ended up watching it because he wanted me to talk about it, because I didn't know that this was going to tie into the dream that I had also, last night. So anyway, but it was, and so like I said, when you turn away from God and for what what is right, and you start embracing the bad side, it can take over your mind, your body. And that means anybody can control your mind and your body, your soul. Because now you have already turned to the dark side. Now you are already operated in your dark soul, your dark side of in your life, in your life purpose, instead of operating the good. And when that happened, God began to show you warning signs and different things and red flags, and you do not listen. You do not listen to, you continue to engage in it. It's just like too, if you initiate yourself in secret societies, coven groups, different hate groups and discrimination groups and different things like that. Instead of you using your gifts and talents to promote, wellness and health and love and kind and peace, you rather sow in the seeds of evil, hatred, discrimination, anger, bitterness. You want to enter and intercede into all that stuff. That's when you're in touch with your dark side. And now she, and then like I said, in the movie, her and her friend got outdone and stuff like that, because she started not being with the friend no more and being more with the guy, because she had a taste of killing people and thought that she could get away with it. And that's what some people do. Some people think that they can do things to other people and think they can get away with it, that it's not going to be exposed. The truth is not going to come out, because they're doing everything in secret. But at the end, it did come out. Everything that was done in secret, it came out. In the end, the police end up finding out how these people was killing. How they was killing each other and stuff like that. In in the dream. I mean, not in the dream, but in, you know, how they was killing each other, you know, in the movie. And so that's what I'm saying. Just be mindful of who you meet this year. You know, get to know that person, you know, and do your homework and do your research. You know, the internet has a lot of things or ways that you can get to know somebody. You know, ask a lot of questions before you fully commit and engage into a relationship with somebody that you met. And you don't know a little about, because you don't know what type of past that they have. You don't know what type of dark night of the soul that they might be operating in. They might look to you one way as spiritual, but then they also have a dark side to them that you have not encountered. And so with that, just be mindful of that, because, and then too, there was a lot to, and in there too, it was a lot of mental disorders and stuff like that was also, you know, that I saw in both of them, you know, in the man and the woman, and also the boyfriend too, that there's a lot of mental disorders in there going on, you know, codependent on somebody. That also was going on. And like I said, this man had money, you know, he had house, money, and everything like that, because he was a doctor, you know, but you would never thought that a doctor would do that, you know, on his leisure time, was to, you know, he helped people during the daytime, but then at night he was killing people, you know, for fun, for sports, you know, for enjoyment, for pleasure. So, I don't have anything else to say with that. Yeah, just like I said, the thing is, just be mindful, you know, when it comes to many people, you know, always when you're going through your healing, you know, you always break your old patterns, you know, help yourself to understand the cycles of life, you know, and the patterns that is going on in your life, you know, your habits, your thinking pattern, your emotions pattern, you know, your past life traumas and different things like that. You know, understanding the law of karma, the fact that we attract who we are and that we reap what we sow. So understand the spiritual laws too on earth, and also you know, in the spiritual realm. You know, change your mentalities and your new ideals when it comes about other people. You know, get your proper healing. You know, move away from the past. The past is always going to be your past. You learn from it and you move forward. You don't stay stuck in the past. And that's why a lot of people's not moving forward, because they're still stuck in the past. They can't let the past go. So therefore, you're going to be stuck there until you realize, wake up from it, learn from it, and move forward. You know, you need to develop independent will, you know, this year. You know, cleanse yourself, purify yourself, negative memories related to sexuality, emotion, dependency, and all kinds of addictions. And you know, their addiction was not alcohol and drugs. Their addiction was killing people. So people have different addictions in their life that they need to willing to accept and face it. You know, and then pray to God for the healing to cleanse their soul, mind, body from it. You know, so they don't repeat those habits and get deeper and deeper into their addictions. Also, you know, with your face your emotional impulses also that you need to face. Liberate negative forces and emotions, you know, from yourself. You know, if you having difficult to refuse or fear change, That's when you go deep inside yourself, your inner self, and find out why it's difficult for you to change. You refuse to change. You are in fear. Live past like I said, live past, the past memories of your life, the present and the past. Do not ignore the laws of karma. The fact that, like I said, you reap what you sow. What you put out in the universe is what you're going to get back. You think that what you saying, praying, seeking, chanting, spells, hex, or curse, or whatever on somebody's life, don't you know that it always come back to you first? It goes like a full circle, goes around in circles, and it does. It's like a 360. So the universe is going to hear, especially when you are speaking bad things to people and over people's life, trying to steal blessings, trying to steal their destiny or whatever, or trying to keep people stuck and not moving forward. Don't you know that the universe is going to keep you stuck? The universe is going to hold back your blessings because you are speaking ill will and intention on an innocent person that is not speaking it on you because of your fear of change. You still stuck in the past. You still have addictions that you can't shake off. You don't want to talk about it to nobody because you're thinking that you can solve all these problems yourself. And you don't think that karma is going to come back to you, which it will. You have all these sexualities, fetish, and emotions and stuff like that all harboring into your mind and soul that you need to get some healing from. You need to get some deliverance from. So you don't go back into those bad habits starting a new year. All the broken promises, dissolve all karma, divine grace, pardons of all faults, spiritual and material abundance, innocence, great healing power, new beginnings, a second chance. Watch for the energy. I was talking about watch around the surrounding energies that's been sent your way. Because if you wake up feeling peaceful and peaceful and happy and joy, and then all of a sudden you're feeling angry, mad, that means somebody's projecting that type of energy on you to keep you in a low vibration state. So that way they can continue to do what they set out to do, the evil intentions towards your life. So that's when you have to stay in an upbeat and watch the surrounding of your energies. Because yesterday I could feel that, I woke up one, all happy and joy and stuff, at peace. Then throughout the day, anger start coming, and stuff like that, and didn't know where it came from. So it was sent because somebody sent it to me. That was an energy that somebody sent to me to make me feel anger when I wasn't angry at all. Just like this morning, I'm waking up calm this morning, and peaceful and joy. So that's why when I noticed that, that's when I start praying within, Also, start praying within, got quiet and start praying within, to send it back to the person. Whoever sent it to me, send it right back to them. The chaos, the anger and confusion, because that was not my spirit. It was not my energy. And so that's why I'm saying you have to be careful with the lust, the sexual desire, bulimia, wrongdoer, lawbreakers, and prisoners, neglect, hidden crimes, broken promises, waste, squandering, dangerous spirituality, repeat errors and misactions, attitude and behavior, engender problems and difficult karma. All of this is part of it. Emotionally, physically, gets part, when you start dissolving all your karma, your past life karma debts in this past, in this present one, and then you move on to spirituality, your new beginnings, your healing, you move on to unity, successful relationship and communication, where you don't have any problem communicating with anybody, express how you feel to that person, good or bad. That's when you know that you don't heal from a lot of things in your life. You don't mind expressing your feelings. You don't mind expressing how you want to be treated as a human being. You understand the concept of money and exchange of money. You understand about, divine logic, a vision, successful relationship. You also ability to materialize the right, the just, the fair, the wrong, respect in each stages of your life. You know how to generate abundance, new ideals. You know how to visionary, administer, coordinate. When you go into your spiritual journey, your spiritual here awakening, this is all the things that now you'll get in touch with now when you go into your new beginning. You have understandings. You are emotionally imbalanced now. You being a leader. And when it comes to also, it says universal medicine, and that's relating to, and that goes back to that movie, with the doctor, was in the movie. And you can able to detect and identify the cause of your illness. And then that's when you go in and seek medical help or professional, whatever, in different parts of your life. It also too, it makes you become a great healer, where there's university remedies. I talk about the herbs and stuff like that you can actually use, that God, that's doing cooking, you can use it for, to bring detoxing, spiritual bath and cleaning and stuff like that to your life, inside and out. Leads to true healings, that touches all levels of your life. Infinite goodness, unconditional love, unconditional service. Truth, exposing the truth, telling the truth. No more lies, no more secrets. You have a better understanding that where it's good or bad. Being true, wise person and an elevated soul. You learn, you recognize your errors, you recognize your ways. You don't try to be the victim. You don't try to create illusion for people. You're not being like a swindler, imposter, a manipulator, abusing other people's good faith, to gain, flattering, getting attention. Joining different groups that that you should not be joining, or entertaining different people when you're not supposed to be entertaining people. Especially if you're in a relationship, you should not be entertaining women or men when you're in a relationship, a committed relationship or a marriage. When you get into your healing, your spiritual healing, your journey and different things like that, God will show you how to set boundaries in people's lives. And I just want to, before I end it, was I end up, you know, like I said, yesterday was Valentine's Day, right? So all of a sudden I started getting these, you know, this group text message from my family. Now remind you, I have not talked to these people in a year, right? And all of a sudden I started getting, you know, my number was added to the group chat or whatever. And they was, you know, talking about Valentine's and stuff like that. And I felt some type of way, you know, with that. And I end up deleting all the messages. And I also end up blocking the creator of it. Because to me, it's when you show me your true character, your true personality, and how you feel about me, then I will block you. I will cut you out of my life completely and totally. And don't come back in. I'm not going to allow you to come back in to just try to destroy me again. See, that's when you learn from your life lessons of how people treat you. And how people show through their actions and through their words. And when that happened, you know, it brought up a trigger, you know, of the past. And it made me felt some type of way where it changed my energy and my mood. Because I was looking at all these people, you know, that I haven't talked to you for a year. Now you want to come around because now you see that I'm, you know, I'm about to be blessed, or you see me being blessed. Now you want to come into my life. Now you want to show love. Now you want to show that you respect me. Now you want to show kindness. Now you want to show loyalty. After you don't betray, deceit, backstab, unloyal, untrustworthy, lies, deceit, slander my name, ruin the reputation, decided that to ghost me and not talk to me. You see what I'm saying? And now they want to come back into my life because now they think they're going to benefit, you know, years later off of my energy, off of my blessings. That's been cut off. That's been shielded. You know, God had me prepared like a week ago. Because I had a dream about people was going to come, you know, from my past going to start coming back into my life. Even the presence come back into my life and trying to, I guess, do what they did years ago. And thinking they're going to operate in my blessings. Think that they're going to operate it into my destiny, you know, and try to stop my moving forward. And which is not going to work. It's not working. And it would never work. God has already unblocked that, shielded that, told me what to do. So it don't matter what they try to do, is not going to work. They're doing it in vain. For one thing, God knows that they're doing it in vain. They're not doing it for the good of the person. They're doing it for their self, being selfish. And see what they can gain out of people. So God is not answering any prayers or anything, any prayers or any intentions or they put into the universe or whatever. These people, He's not answering it. And He's not allowing them to come back into my life either. Which I prayed about that too. To close the doors. Once you leave, the door is closed. You cannot come back in. I don't care how nice you can be, how loving or whatever, or, you know, you change or you have a change of heart. You're not going to forget the past. You're not going to forget what people has done to you on a personal level and a professional level. So that's why I can sleep at night. That's why I can wake up feeling restful. having joy in my life. And I have no cares of the world and has no cares of what people try to do, because I already know what God had already prepared me for and showed me in a dream what was going to come and what they was going to try to do again this year. So it has been blocked. Everything has been blocked. Nothing is going to work because I'm going to walk in my own destiny. I'm going to walk in my own blessings. And I ask God to remove anybody that is not beneficial or serve my highest purpose, or it will be loyal to me, to remove them out of my life. They do not deserve any of my blessings that's coming into my life, because the only thing you want to do is come in to kill, steal, destroy again, and being selfish for your selfish gains. And so now that I have already put my intentions out there to God, my ancestors, my spirit guide, now it's going to be fulfilled. Because once you put your intentions out there, nothing that nobody can do, it's not going to alter it. It's not going to change anything. Only thing it's going to do is alter and change their lives and their directions. Their purpose is what is going to change. And I stand firmly on the revelation that God gave me when he gave me the dream about people was doing some things to me in the spiritual realm and on earthly realm. And he already had told me and got me prepared on what spiritual action I should be taking, spiritually and earthly, which I did. I took heed to what he said. So I protected myself weeks ago before this even started. And so that's what I'm telling you all. When you stay tuned into God and stay tuned into what he's hearing, and you are operating in your good side and not your bad side, like we call the dark night of the soul side, and that you are not allowing people to persuade and allowing people to plant things in your mind to do evil things against people, innocent people, even maybe people that you might love. You need to fight that. Even your bad habits, you need to fight it. And it doesn't matter if it's sexually or is it, pills, drug eating, or whatever. Or killing people, or doing some craziness to people. We see enough bad things in this world on the news and everything else to have people that's in your circle around you that is doing bad things to you. Hide their hand, smile in your face. But at the same time, they're backstabbers. They're showing their true colors, their true personality. They're being exposed. Ain't nothing under the sun that God does not know. God knows everything what people do secretly. He knows their secret thoughts. He knows how, he knows them secretly when they're doing things out in the open or in private. He knows when they're talking, doing communication, texting, emailing. He knows all of that stuff. He knows exactly what people are doing. You can't hide anything from God. Only thing he's going to do is get you in line with his will, with his purpose. And if you don't, then he's going to turn you over to a reprobate mind. He's going to turn you over to the devil, who you've been serving your dark side with. And you know, once the devil finished with you, he's time to collect. That means he want to collect your soul. And if you don't do what he tell you to do, then your soul belongs to the devil. Because you got warnings and warnings and warnings to change, and you choose not to. And then you allow other people to change you, to put perceptions in your mind about other people and other places and things. That you so weak in the mind that you allow someone to control you until you do things out of desperation, out of loneliness, out of status, fame, money, as you know, importance, and make yourself feel important, attention. All of that stuff is, don't you know, all of that stuff is of the devil, that you worshiping, that you is idolizing and running after. There's nothing good in that. There's nothing good coming out of that situation, those emotions. Nothing good comes out of it. Until next time, peace, love, joy, and happiness, and much blessings.